All right, you guys, let's dive in to the question of, are you less of a hunter for hunting with a crossbow versus a compound? So first, I hope you guys don't mind. I'm gonna drink a beer while we tackle this one. So cheers to tackling one of the most heatedly debated topics. Honestly, the topic that probably right now is causing the most division within the hunting industry and the archery community. But I'm gonna give you guys my 2 cents. Okay, so cheers. So I guess first off, a couple things to start out. One, you guys can disagree with me. You can agree with me. You can disagree with each other. I really, I don't want to say I don't care, but what I want is I want the comment section to be respectful on this, okay? Because of how divided people are on this particular topic. It's totally okay if you think I'm an idiot. It's totally okay if you have a different opinion, but please keep it respectful. I will delete comments if things get crazy, because the last thing that I want is this video topic to drive any more division than what there already is in the hunting and archery community. Second, I hunt with both of these things. These are, this is my compound. This is one of my crossbows. You guys can see I've got some others hanging up behind me here in the garage. I hunt with both of them. I am not disabled. I have no injuries. I'm, a capable 37-year-old adult male. So I just want to make that clear. And I thought long and hard about how to do this video. I wanted to make some notes. I kind of wanted to, like, I don't know, have like a list of things, but honestly, I kind of want to just wing this one, you guys. And I apologize if this is kind of a word vomit. I apologize if I bounce around a bunch or I repeat myself or all that kind of stuff. But, I want this to be genuine. I want this to be honest. I want this to not be just like a rehearsed bullet point PowerPoint type of thing. So with that said, let's dive into this. And I want to start with, I don't really like the, I don't want to say I don't like the wording, but I don't want to approach this as like crossbow hunter is less of a hunter than compound hunter, because I don't think that's right at all. I think the way to approach this and think about this is maybe the question of who had the more challenging hunt, the crossbow hunter, the compound bow hunter. Because let's be honest, like many of you out there are better hunters than I am. And I guarantee you there is somebody out there that is a better hunter than all of us. And we probably don't even know that person's name. Legitimately, the best hunter in America, the best hunter on the face of the earth, I would be willing to bet we have no idea who that is. So just assume there's someone better than you out there. Really, I think that's true. But when we think about who had the more challenging hunt, if everything, literally everything, every variable, every element, the shot distance, I don't know, the property, all the other gizmos and gadgets that you took out in the woods, if literally all of that was equal, who had the harder hunt? The compound bow hunter. The compound bow hunter had the harder hunt because it is harder, for me, my opinion, and I think many of you would agree, it is harder to execute a shot with a compound bow than it is with a crossbow, simply because there is way more human element to hunting with a compound bow. I'm connected to the bow. I am, having to hold the draw. I have to pay attention to facial pressure on my kisser button and making sure things are lined up, making sure my grip is good. I'm a big one where when I struggle with my compound, it's usually my grip. Making sure I don't punch the trigger, making sure I'm squeezing through the shot, making sure I've got a good follow through. Like, there's just a lot of elements and a lot more like human connectivity to the compound versus that of the crossbow. And I think that's where a lot of people get that, this person is better than this person. but I will not disagree with anyone. Executing a shot, all things created equal, the compound bow is harder. Now, what I also think is within a hunt, I'm going to just break it down into two elements. There's the element of putting yourself in the position to have a shot. So like the shot opportunity section and all of the things and all of the elements that go into that. And then there's the shot execution portion of it. And I really think they can be different skill sets. Now, I think you got to be good at both to consistently shoot big bucks, but I think we can separate those things and we can see examples of where people are better at one versus another. An example I can think right off the top of my head today. I was listening to the most recent Hunter podcast. I don't know if you guys have listened to them, but they've got a really good podcast, and they are, for the most part, I don't want to say they're anti-crossbow, but most of what they say is fairly negative toward the crossbow aspect of things, and that's fine. But they had Cody DeQuisto on their most recent podcast, and what he was talking about, and I'm using my words in summary, not exactly his, but he talked about how he a lot of time he really didn't practice that much with his compound. He a lot of times shot more instinctively than he did using sight pins, even though he had them. And how his skill set is elite, I would say, in my opinion, at creating shot opportunities, at figuring out a property, at knowing how to read sign, all that kind of stuff, like his woodsmanship skills and his strategies to get a big buck, in the position to execute a shot. He is extremely good at that. But from what I gathered in that podcast, he would probably tell you he's not the greatest archer. He's not the greatest shot. Versus, let's take like the polar opposite. Let's take someone that is an Olympic archer, that is elite at shot execution with a compound bow, has very little hunting experience. Who's going to do better in the woods, I guess, is one of my questions. Like, who do you think is going to kill a deer? The absolute elite archer with no or maybe very minimal hunting skills, woodsmanship skills, or the Cody DeQuistos, who are elite at figuring out properties, elite at breaking down sign and getting themselves in a shot opportunity, but maybe not as good of an archer. Who do you guys think is going to shoot something? I'd be willing to bet it's Cody. And the reason I want to break things down like that is because when we see posts on social media, or even short video clips or anything like that, what we see is usually a deer that's been harvested and the weapon it's been harvested with. So you see a picture on Instagram of a guy with a big buck and he's got a crossbow, instantly think, he used a crossbow. He's cheating. He's not nearly a good hunter as so-and-so and blah, 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 blah. Versus the compound, where you might have a person that, post that picture and you instantly think, oh man, they're awesome. Wow, look at that buck they killed. Oh, they did it with a compound. Yeah, he's a good hunter. When we have zero context of the woodsmanship element of that photo. And so like, we'll do an example here. Let's say that someone is a crossbow hunter. Maybe they don't have a ton of money. They don't have their own private land. They hunt in my home state of Michigan, which is highly pressured, similar to other states like Pennsylvania. States like that. They've got to hunt public land. They don't have a ton of money. They can't pay for cell cams. They can't pay for fancy clothing. They are a very good woodsman, though. They are able to break down a property, be able to figure out deer, be able to figure out the other people, all that kind of stuff. And let's say they shoot a buck at 15 yards. They got in close. They were in a cattail marsh up to their waist almost in water and crap just to get to the spot that they needed to get to. That's a mile back. And okay, they shoot a buck at 15 yards with a crossbow. Most of you guys would see the crossbow and the buck that's been harvested, and you would say, cheater, bad hunter, not nearly as good as the vertical bow guys. Where then on the flip side, you might see a photo on Instagram where that person is a compound bow hunter. They've got a 2,000 acre property in Iowa. Or maybe this person is even hunting with an outfitter that's really well managed. They've been, keeping hunting pressure low. They've got cell cameras everywhere. They've got the best clothing, the best scent elimination. They've got redneck blinds strategically placed throughout the property where not only does that seal in their scent, but their motion, all that other stuff. Food plots everywhere. And they shoot a big buck at, I don't know, we'll say 15 yards again. Instagram would tell you, that picture would say, oh yeah, man, he killed a huge one with a compound bow. He's a better hunter. But in reality, I guess, who had the harder hunt? When I think about it, we would still think the compound bow hunter is the better hunter, had the more challenging hunt, just based off of that photo. When in reality, to me, that is not the case. And that's kind of the way I want, people to think about this topic, is how many different elements go into the difficulty level of a hunt, and how many different tools we have to either make a hunt more difficult or less difficult. And how I think oftentimes, and I should back up and say, I think there are plenty of times where the crossbow person did not have, they had an easier hunt than the compound bow hunter. Definitely. But oftentimes we don't know. And I kind of just want to paint the picture and separate the elements that go into getting into the position to have a shot at a deer and actually executing the shot. Because to me, there's no debate on which is harder to execute the shot. The compound bow is harder. But when you think about who had the harder hunt, we don't know. And there are a ton of elements, and I think there are a lot of deer that are harvested with a crossbow where that person legitimately had a harder hunt than someone with a compound. So it's not black and white. It will never be, because I don't think we will know unless things are, on camera. And even at that point, I still don't think we know all of the elements that go into a hunt. So I want you guys to consider that, and hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. There is a lot more variables in the getting the opportunity at an animal to even be able to execute the shot that I think we overlook just a ton. The guys on the Hunter podcast, they're 100% right in that the resource, the deer herd, and the health of it really is the number one thing when it comes down to weapons used, season lengths, number of tags given out, all that type of stuff. We don't have hunting if we don't have deer. But I think we got to have each other too, in that we also don't have hunting if we're just going to constantly be at each other's throats. So, and I really do, I truly do personally, I enjoy hunting with both of the things sitting right here in front of me on the table. There's a connectivity and intimacy with a vertical bow, with a compound, that you have that I personally, I just don't have with a crossbow or with a firearm or with other weapons. If I want that experience, or if I want to pursue a particular animal and have that, then that's what I'm going to take. There are other times where I want my crossbow. if I'm pounding public land, if I'm going to be, I don't know if I'm going to be elevated. I don't know if I'm going to be ground pounding. Maybe I am just hunting on the ground because this area is freaking thick and it's gnarly, but it's where I got to be. And I might have a really close shot or one where I've really got to thread a needle. That's literally my hunt last year on public land where I shot my best buck to date at 10 yards from the ground with a crossbow. When it's really cold outside, I want my crossbow. Honestly, I know the shot range thing is a highly debated topic, but if my effective range on them, yes, the crossbow is farther. And if I, have a spot where I really want to, or I might have a farther shot, then yeah, I do. I want the crossbow. But both of them I enjoy hunting with. Both of them I feel like have their advantages and disadvantages. Both of them I feel like I have challenging hunts that make me happy. And that really, you guys, is you can make hunting as challenging or as easy as you want. Weapons aside, you can do it with a lot of different elements. And it really is up to you. It really is up to you. And to me personally, you really shouldn't care what people on Facebook or Instagram think. Your goal should be a better hunter today than you were yesterday. Continue to improve day in and day out. You don't have to be the best hunter. You don't have to live up to the standards of the Cody DeQuistos or the, I don't know, the Levi Morgans, the Dan Infalts, if you think about some of these great bow hunters out there, you don't have to be just like them. You can hunt your hunt and you can make it as challenging or as easy as you want with a ton of different variables. But what I want to, I guess, bring people together on a little bit is the work that was put into it, the property that was being hunted, all the other gizmos, gadgets, elements to get to the shot opportunity is a huge unknown. And that, I think, is more of a part of skill set, of difficulty, than the actual weapon that is going to be executing the shot, at least when it comes to a compounded crossbow, and at least for me. But there's just a ton of elements that go into a hunt, and it's not just the weapon. And I think we need to just take a step back and remember that before we start blasting people on social media or before we start crowning someone better than another. It's your hunt. Hunt it the way you want. Hunt it legally, and just be happy with what you harvest and how you harvested it. If you are happy with how you took that animal, how you went about it, and you are proud of it, man, that is all that matters. Forget all the other noise outside. If you guys did like this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you guys soon on the next video. Take care, God bless, and remember, be a sportsman, make a sportsman.